Are you an introvert and you want to work in filmmaking? Well, I have some really good news for you. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the film industry with the Amber Living Vlog, and I am Amber, and today we're talking about why we have 10 reasons why the introverts of the world belong in the film industry. Well, I consider myself an introvert, and I've been in the film industry for a number of years now, and when I first started, it was really hard. And at the end of the 10 reasons, I'm gonna give you a couple of tips that help, or some of the things you can do to kind of ease the growing pains of trying to work on set and being an introvert. How to be better at like getting in the mix of everything. I remember I was just like, oh my god, am I cut out for this? You know, you have that moment of doubt, like, do I belong here? Because Hollywood is largely just, it's all big and it's just bubbly and everyone's personality is so big and it's just a lot. You feel like an introvert is just not going to survive in that environment, but they are totally needed in that environment, and here's why. Number 10, we're gonna go right into prep work. Preparation for filmmaking. Filmmaking, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of prep. Pre-production is like half of the movie. It's pretty much half of making movies, man. As an introvert, you are most likely good at preparation. You have the ability to just kind of prioritize, you're thinking about stuff, and you're most likely really organized, and you can plan really well. And we need those people on film sets. We need those people making movies. So number 9, now this you're probably gonna be like, okay, this makes no sense. You like being alone. As an introvert, I like being alone. I like being by myself. This means to me that, and it works out to your benefit when you're on set because you're around all those people all the time, and when you go home and you're like by yourself or with your spouse or whatever, that's your moment to energize. You have your time to just like be alone by yourself when you're not on set. Then that's your moment. You're reflecting, you're like, how can I go and do what's coming tomorrow? How can this go better? You're reflecting, you're figuring out, you're thinking about what's next, and being alone, I feel like, is a super great advantage because we don't need other people to we don't need the feedback from other people. We are our own like self-judgers, we're self-critical, we're our own worst enemy pretty much, and as introverts, I feel like being alone is a big part of who we are, and man, I love my alone time, I swear to goodness. When you're on set, you may not be alone, but you have your moments where you can just step back and just take a breather and be like, okay, let's get back out there. It may not make any sense, but it is to your advantage. You like being alone, and that's okay. So number 8, you have the ability to stay calm. Now, I know when I'm on set, man, there are like 15 million things running through my head, and I'm like freaking out in my head. I'm like, oh my goodness, how can we do this? I'm thinking about like actors, makeup, lighting, but I'm like thinking about all these crazy things. On the outside, I'm just like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Yeah, so let's bring this actor in, let's have this person ready, blah, blah, blah. I tend to stay a little bit more calm, and introverts are really needed in these moments where there's a lot happening and there's so many things moving at the same time. They can stay calm during these moments, and you know, even if there's a crisis or you know, an emergency situation, you need those people that can stay calm to keep other people calm and so people don't panic. So the fact that you can stay calm is amazing, or at least you don't show it. So number 7, you have the ability as an introvert to stay focused. There are so many moving parts of filmmaking. You're on set, there's so many different things happening, there's so many different departments and people and whatever, but whatever your job may be, you don't, you know, tend to get distracted. You can be focused, you know what to do, this is what we're doing, you know, and that's it. Your ability to stay focused is probably like way better than anyone else's on set as an introvert. So number 6, introverts are very analytical. I feel like this is super useful. You have a logical mind. You have like superior reasoning skills, problem solving skills, critical thinking. You have this going for you. You need that because you have the ability to prioritize. And your coworkers that are extroverts, I mean, they kind of need you around because sometimes they have like, you know, these ideas, but you have the ability to be like, what if we do this first? We're gonna save this time, or this will be faster, or this will be more efficient, blah, blah, blah. So because you're like, you have an analytical mind, that is like a really good asset to have when you're working in film. So number 5, as an introvert, you're deeply insightful. You have a deep understanding of everything around you, only because I feel like you're listening a lot. You're taking in information all around you. You probably will read more. You spend your alone time kind of learning about other things, and maybe it could be a number of, maybe it's not books, who knows, maybe you're watching more movies, maybe you're just people watching in the park, who knows, but you're observing things and you have an understanding of the world around you, and that can make you a really, really great writer. You can like take all those things in and regurgitate it into a really, really great script. So, you know, that as an introvert, like if you want to be a writer, that's like totally right up your alley. And a lot of writers are introverts. Number 4 is you're highly sensitive. And as an introvert, and man, I have a lot of pride. I don't like admitting that I'm highly sensitive or highly emotional, but I feel like I really, really am. And I hate that. Like, I get really defensive at times. I get really angry only because I'm like highly sensitive and like really, you know, just my emotions are probably going crazy, but you know, inside you wouldn't, you know, I'm staying calm all the time, so you would never notice that I'm like highly sensitive. But as an introvert, because you're highly sensitive, if you want to be a director and you're an introvert, because you are in tune with your emotions and you do get like really, really sensitive and all that, and you're really insightful, you can bring out really, really great performances out of your actors. When you watch one of these movies from an introverted director, you really have a feel for that like depth of emotion in these movies. And we'll talk about the directors a little bit later, but like when you watch those movies, you can totally tell like who's an extrovert, who's an introvert, and what kind of person is making that movie. And if you're an introvert, you're most likely going to be really, really good at directing, because that is, you're just in tune with the world and the emotions and understanding those types of emotions and the people around you. So number 3, now we're down to the top 3 things that I think are super important in filmmaking, and as an introvert you have it. So number 3 is collaboration. Filmmaking is a miracle of collaboration, said by James McAvoy. It's one of my favorite quotes. I love putting this on my call sheets, but it's true. Filmmaking is collaboration. When you're an introvert, you have the ability to get others to talk about their ideas, and you're talking about your ideas, but you also let the people around you express their ideas. Because I feel like sometimes when you have an extrovert, they're kind of stealing the show, and you don't have an ego, and you're not that prideful where you're like, okay, you know, you're saying all your ideas, I don't like it because you're not letting me say my ideas. You had that ability to kind of get the best work out of everybody, because it's like, you know, you're creating this like safe space almost. Like it's okay for you to express your ideas. And I feel like a lot of great collaboration comes into play when you have that type of environment, and introverts provide that. Number 2 is really, really great, because I feel like, you know, you need a really, really great outside the box idea if you want a really, really great movie to be made, right? So people want to see things that are not like anything else they've seen, and introverts have a way of not doing something that everyone else is doing, and they're doing something that is so different that people are like, whoa. And it's almost like the introverts are then the trendsetters, which you wouldn't think introverts would be. They tend to do things that other people, you know, don't do. Introverts are less likely to do something because everyone else is doing it. Like, I am so against the grain. Sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to do it because everyone else is doing it. It's like, for me, it's like a painful type thing when I have to do something everyone else is doing. Like taking selfies, I'm like the worst, because I'm like, I hate taking them because everyone's like, oh my God, selfie. And it's like such a trend, and it's so popular that I hate doing it. And introverts kind of fall in line with that. Like they have a rebellious streak, and they don't want to do everything else that everyone's doing. And they're super creative, and they find different ways to do other things that other people aren't doing. That makes for good filmmaking, because people want to see movies that are really, really different. Like they want to see great new ideas, and introverts provide that. And this is a really, really great number 1, because it is so like, people out there are like, introverts aren't leaders, which is so far from the truth. Your best leaders are introverts. There are so many great leaders in the world that through history that were introverts, and if you're an introvert, you have the ability to be a really, really great leader. Now, say you want to be a director and you're like, well, I'm not really loud and I'm not, you know, gonna, you know, yell and scream, but you don't need to. You you tell your first AD whatever you need, and they can be loud, and they can communicate with the crew and whatever, and they make the things happen. Like, you tell them what you want, and they make it happen. One director I really liked working with, and he was totally introverted, and it took him a while to warm up to everybody on crew, but you could totally tell, it's like, he's warming up to us. I remember how he gave notes to actors. He wasn't behind the camera, and he was like, okay, you do this, this. He would go up to the actor really, really discreetly, and he would just go like right into their ear, and no one else could hear him. No one else could hear the note he was giving the actor. And after that, like after a couple notes, like really quiet to the actor, it was like, the performance was like amazing. It was like, and I was like, man, I really like that technique. And he was an introvert that conveyed his ideas one-on-one, and he didn't need everyone to hear what he was saying. So, but he was a really, really great leader for our team and that movie, and I commend him for it. And those are the types of things, like, don't worry if you're quiet. Don't worry if you're shy. You're gonna, you know, get to know people, and being a leader is just like, you know, you're a doer. You may not be a talker, and that's fine, but you're a doer. You're the example. It's like Abe Lincoln was an introvert, Rosa Parks, Gandhi, all those great, great world leaders were introverts, and there's no reason why, if you're an introvert, that you can't be a great leader. So some of the things that help when you're just starting in film and you're like, God, this is so painful, and I feel so awkward. You know, I've been there. I've been there where I'm like, what the hell do I do to make my day like less stressful, because I'm like freaking out because people are trying to talk to me. I don't know what to say. I feel really awkward. I don't know. When I started out in my department, it starts there. Talk to the people in your department, because you guys have a common goal. You're all in the same department. Say you're all in props, or say you're all in camera. Say you're linked up in sound, or maybe you're just, you know, a bunch of PAs, but you know, there's only gonna be so many people in your department. Link up with those people first, get to know them, create your like family atmosphere, and then you branch out, and then you're like, you know, I'm a PA, let's talk to someone in sound, or let's talk to, you know, someone in the art department or something. Man, I'm telling you, I feel hella weird when I'm like, hi, I'm Amber, I'm a fucking first AD. That's the thing I have to do, is I have to introduce myself to people I don't know. I need to put a face to it so I know who the hell people are. So I go up to people and say, hey, I'm the first AD, I'm Amber, blah, blah, blah. You know, just so an intro, and just saying hi, saying hello to people is like, it just makes them feel good about it, because then it's just like weird. You create this weird atmosphere where you're like, oh, the AD doesn't want to talk to anybody, and blah, blah, blah. It's just really, just say hello. Tell people who you are, and it just makes things easier from there. I made a video about networking, and networking in film is, in order to survive in the industry, you're gonna have to network. As an introvert, it is super hard to network, because it's like, you don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to do the talking. You want people to talk to you. You want people to invite you to their film. Here's the thing, is people love asking questions. They want to know your goals and stuff like that. Keep that in mind. What do you want to do in the film industry, Amber? And you're like, oh, well, I want to be a first AD. And they usually keep that in mind. My first AD gig was because I expressed to a coworker, yeah, I want to be a first AD. You know, I haven't been able to get on set and been able to do that. And then a couple weeks later, he's making a short film. He's like, Amber, I want you to be, you know, my first AD. And because I talked about it, that created an opportunity for me. If I didn't talk about it, and I didn't talk about what I wanted in life or what my goals were, that thing would have never happened. Maybe it's like acting, right? Just think of something that you could say. You know, like, hey, these are my goals. I could probably talk about that. I can always talk about, you know, because introverts really worry about small talk, and you can always talk about, you know, your last project. That always seems to be a topic of conversation is, hey, you know, on my last project we did this, this, and this, and on this one short film we did this, and we were on this big budget set, but you tend to talk about other projects. So those are safe. Like, what you want to do, what you have done are usually safe zones of areas of conversation that you could, you know, have kind of prepped, ready to go. And extroverts are like really good like on the fly, but we're not. Like, we have to plan. Introverts have to plan what they're going to say, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then, you know, just have a couple topics and subjects in the back of your head that you could use when those type of conversations might come up. So I want to talk about some introverted directors, and just to bring just a couple of my favorite. Now, people hate on Tim Burton, but I love him. I love anything he does. Even if he's a producer, I'm like all over that. He's an introvert, and he is a really, I like his directing. And I mean, not all his movies are like blockbuster movies, but I love his stuff. Let's see, Ang Lee, he did Life of Pi, he did Brokeback Mountain. Or also Steven Spielberg, one of the most famous directors you probably know. Also another super famous one is Stanley Kubrick. Like, if you watch his movies, man, you just get a total, man, you feel it. You feel that, like, whatever emotion he's trying to convey, you feel it, like, times 100. I mean, some people would say you would never know it when he's on set, and I feel like some people would never know I am an introvert because how I am on set, because I am talking to people and I'm joking with people and this and that. It's like, for me, it's like once you step on set, you're ready to work. My work ethic takes over. You know, I'm there to work, I'm there for this position, and if I'm not doing those certain things, then I'm gonna fail, you know? So I have to keep that in the back of my head. Even though I wanna be like this person that doesn't say anything all day and just be alone, I know in order to do my job, I have to do XYZ as a first AD. So I let my work ethic take over, and that could be a tactic for you, like, this is my job. I gotta do it, you know? You have to kind of force yourself almost, and then it just becomes habit. If you're an introvert, we need you in the film industry. So if you think you don't have the confidence, just baby steps. And I mean, like, that's what I did, baby steps, and just every project you do a little bit better, a little bit better, a little better. And it may be a long, slow road, but that's okay. It's your own pace, and you gotta do you. So I hope you took something away from this video. Introverts out there, you belong in the industry. I want you to know that. We need you. There are all types of people that make the world go round, and there's a place for you in filmmaking. So that is it for this week. I will have another video up next week. I have no idea what I'm covering. I still haven't covered that associate producer video, but I'm pretty sure that that's okay. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, please comment below. I love answering and interacting with you guys, so please feel free to comment. If you like my videos, please subscribe to get more of my videos, and like and share, you know? Like, you gotta make the dream work. As I say, like, almost every video, you gotta make the dream work, because what am I doing this for? You gotta help me make my dream come true of being a good YouTuber? I don't know, I have no idea. But, I am here for you guys to learn and give you confidence in, you know, the film industry, and help you help yourself in the film world. So that is it for now. I will see you guys next week.